What's up? What's up, everybody? How's it going? We are the podcast formerly known as the Boy Squad. It was a very short-lived run. We are now going by Your Next Anime. We are an anime podcast. Turns out the Sugoi Squad was already taken, which is something we should have looked up before we started recording, but it's okay. We should be good now.
It
For the
happens.
first couple of episodes, we may be calling ourselves something else, but going forward, we are Your Next Anime. And my name's Eric.
Yeah, so my name's Chris, also known as the Katsugi King, and I'm probably one of the ones I watch all anime from every type of genre. I've been watching it since I was a kid. Got introduced to anime from Dragon Ball Z. That was probably the first anime I watched. Because I remember growing up watching cartoons and then seeing Dragon Ball Z and be like, this is a cartoon, but why does it look different than the cartoons I'm used to? And it's way more action, way more intense. And I was like, I need to see more of these type of cartoons. And that's kind of what got me into anime in the beginning when I was young.
Yeah.
So my top 5 anime that I would say, that's kind of a hard question because, again, there's anime that I like because I feel like they're influential to the community. So one of them, I'm going to say, of course, One Piece. Because it's been going on for that decade.
Can never go wrong.
Over 1,000
years.
episodes. Over 1,000
Over
episodes.
20 years?
Yeah, it
Holy
came
crap.
out in the early 90s or sometime in the mid 90s. I've been watching it, continuously. I'm pretty much caught up, and I would die for the Straw Hat Gang. Those are my homies. I would die for the Straw Hat Gang.
The
If
One
Luffy
Piece is
came
real.
over. The One Piece is real. If Luffy showed up to my house, I was like, "Hey, join my crew." I'd be like, "All right, family. I'll see y'all in a few years. I'll see y'all in a few years. I gotta go help my captain out." Yeah, I would die for the Straw Hat Gang. So One Piece is definitely up there for me. It's still ongoing, which is also kind of big for me because I don't like to put animes in my top until they're finished. Because there's been a few anime that I've watched and I think are great, and then the next season comes out and next season is just trash and it just ruins it for me. So I'm really skeptical about animes that haven't finished yet.
Yeah.
Or mangas that are still ongoing. Because speaking of which, going to my next one, I would say, and then these are not in first, second, or third, fourth, fifth. These are just in my top 5 altogether.
Okay.
Next one, I would say, speaking of which, is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Because I love Full Metal Alchemist and I love Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. They're both really good. Both have completely different endings because Full Metal Alchemist the anime finished before the manga did. So it kind of did its own thing.
Oh,
And then Brotherhood came
Thrones.
out. Exactly. And then they redid it with Brotherhood, which is almost the same kind of storyline, but follows more of the manga.
Yeah.
So I like Brotherhood a little bit better than Full Metal Alchemist, but I do appreciate both of them. But I would say Brotherhood is a little bit up higher for me on that one.
Okay.
And then speaking of animes that aren't finished yet, that I would still put in my top 5, Vinland Saga. Because I love the storytelling in Vinland Saga, the emotions, like the character development, where you see Thorfinn as a kid grow up to a young adult, to an adult in season 2, and his dealing with all of the emotional conflicts that he's had, all the trauma that he's been through, all the PTSD that he goes through. Is just such a well-told story, and the emotions in it are just really well brought out. And it's a beautiful anime, and even the anime style of it is beautiful. The action is great. Even season 2, a lot of people had a lot of hate against it because it was very different from season 1. Season 1 was very much him in battle, a lot of action, him going through killing people and that having to deal with that. Season 2 is more of the aftermath. He's an adult. He doesn't really have to fight as much anymore, and he has to deal with all the trauma of what he's been through. And the story itself is beautiful. So I would put that up there too. But taking it back to the beginning, whenever I first started watching anime, one that I loved and stuck with me because I'm a sucker for tournaments. And this one has the best tournament in
We
all
all
of
know where this is
anime,
going.
the Dark Tournament, Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yu
Yes,
Yu
sir.
Hakusho.
All the way.
I would put Yu Yu Hakusho as my top number one if I
That's
had to list.
honestly that
Same.
intro song. That intro song is OP, man. Like
It
it
is so
doesn't get any
good.
better than that.
Can't be topped, bro.
I
Cannot
need
be
to
topped.
feel the touch of a friend
Uh,
in the countryside. I wander far and wide. The isolation gets me again. Yeah, it's so good.
And don't know
So
where
good.
to go.
So good. That intro is so iconic and is so good.
It's so good.
All the
Yes.
characters in there, so lovable. And it's one of the few anime that actually has genuinely happy ending.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it is
true.
a happy ending anime. All the characters have their own personalities and they all mesh well together. And it's kind of hard to figure out which one you like the most because it's like, you like Yusuke because he's the main character, the tough guy,
Right.
but you like Hiei because he's the super strong and like smaller character, but
Mhm.
he's got such cool, like sleek moves and a sleek style to him. You love
He's real
Kuwabara,
aloof, but then you
real
find out
aloof,
about his sister. Yeah.
He's got a soft side to him still,
Mhm.
and then Kuwabara is just hilarious. He's
Fan
the comedic
favorite.
relief, and
So good.
you can't help but love Kuwabara. He is so hilarious.
Lovable. Yeah.
And then,
Gotta
of course,
rock
you got
it.
Kurama, the pretty boy, the smart, pretty boy that also, when he turns into Yoko from the match, he looks fire. All of them are really great
That dark
characters.
tournament really popped off. Yeah.
It
Dark
really
Tournament
did.
popped off.
I also like how they did a good job at giving every character like their time to develop, right? Like they had their
Yes.
own like internal struggles, like their own little like these next like 3 or 4 episodes are just about like Kurama and like everything that he went through and like why he is the way he is and his background and stuff like that, and it's like they did a really good job at doing that. And then after everybody had their developments, they didn't do the thing where like everybody reverts back to their character that they were at the beginning. Like I feel like a lot of shows do that in order to like, continue the narrative longer or whatever. It's like, but they did a good job at like showing the growth of all of them and then continuing the story from there. Okay, now they're all like better people and friends and actually like a group, and then let's see what they do now that they have like this new kind of like identity. I'm going off on it because you mentioned Yu Yu Hakusho. That's in my top 5. Spoiler alert, that's in my top
Easily.
5.
It's
Easily.
in mine
It should
too.
be in everybody's top 5, honestly. It should be in
Yes.
everybody's top 5. And you're right. Like, I love it because, yeah, I like Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball Z has that, it's either Goku or it's Vegeta. Like,
Right.
there's all these other characters, but it's always either Goku or Vegeta. Yu Yu Hakusho, and like, everybody gets their spotlight.
Right.
Yes.
Every character has their thing, and it's like if one of the characters is your favorite, you're not wrong because that character is awesome for his specific reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the
does a
Dark
good job.
Tournament, best tournament
So
anime,
good.
one of
Best
the best tournaments
writing.
in all of anime. Great
Best
writing,
writing.
great. It was so good, and to throw in that many rounds in the Dark Tournament with that many different teams, that many different enemies they had to fight back to back to back to back. So good. And each character so memorable. And it also gave me, when I was a kid, the first look at a really misunderstood villain. Because normally like the villains are like, I'm a bad guy, I'm here to destroy the world, or I'm here to cause bad stuff because I'm a bad person. But Toguro in the Dark Tournament, he is,
His backstory
really
was interesting.
misunderstood. He's got a pretty sad backstory, and he was really doing it to develop Yusuke in the very end. Like in the very end, like he wasn't doing this for evil. He wasn't doing this for anything, but he was just like, I've lived this long, and secretly I'm doing this for you, the main character.
Factuals.
So it's pretty. So
Factuals.
it's a great anime, great story. It's pretty awesome. Definitely in my top 5. The next one I would have to say is, I got it right behind me.
Gurren
Lagann.
man.
Gurren
Yes,
Lagann, man. That
sir.
one is so good too. It is so hype. It is over the top. Like,
best world
emotion,
scaling in
best
any
world scaling,
anime.
and the progression is just wild. Like they go from starting living under the ground to at the very end they're fighting in space and it throwing
Different
galaxies at each
dimensions,
other,
Destroying
different
galaxies,
dimensions,
basically.
interdimensional battles.
interdimensional
Yes.
battles, freaking manipulating odds and stuff.
Ah,
It's
man.
it's
It gets
the
very like
evolution is
hypothetical science, like very quickly, but it doesn't feel rushed, is the crazy thing. Like they do
Very much so.
evolve very quickly, but it doesn't feel rushed. It feels like everything it's just like a natural progression. It's like our enemies are, giant robots, so we need to take over giant robots to fight them. Our enemies are flying ships, so we need to take over a flying ship to fight them, like
Yeah.
it's a natural progression. Each time it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
it's on such a grandiose scale that you're like, how did we even get here? We were just
Yeah.
living underground.
No, for real though.
That's a pretty
Yeah.
solid top five. So I just want to run it back from the beginning. You said One Piece.
Yep.
You said Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. You said Vinland Saga,
Yes.
actually, which is a newer one compared to
Still
the other ones
ongoing,
that you
so
mentioned.
I'm
Yeah,
still, I hope they finish it great because so far it's been beautiful.
yeah.
Yes.
And then you said Yu Yu Hakusho and Gurren Lagann. Dang, that's a pretty solid top five.
It's a good
Honestly,
list. It's a good
honestly.
list. That
Yeah,
makes me love you guys because we have so much in common.
seriously.
So just wanting to introduce myself. My name is Michael. A little bit of backstory of what got me into anime. It might be one that a lot of people really jumped into. I was a Yu-Gi-Oh kid. I was
Hey,
a
I played Yu-Gi-Oh in middle
WB
school too. I still have my Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
getting out of
You be
elementary
kids,
school
man.
and just, your
Exodia.
move, your move, your move, don't move. Like, bro, it hooked me.
But honestly,
Gosh.
Kaiba way cooler than Yugi. I was always a Kaiba fan.
Kaiba was
You're,
cool.
I'm a man.
I was a Kaiba fan, man. Seto Kaiba way cooler than Yugi.
Yeah.
I
Cooler
was,
name, cooler drip, cooler
uh,
deck.
he did have
Yeah.
a cool deck. He did have a cool deck, and his character
Man,
development was
Yugi's
off
just a
the chain.
second class duelist with a second class deck, man.
Hey, his grandpa doesn't have any bad cards, all right?
That's why his grandpa lost to Kaiba in the first episode.
Bro, don't do him like that.
Got his
He
blue
did
eyes
he
ripped
did the
out.
best he
I
could.
know.
He did the best
All
he
right,
could.
all right. I digress.
I
But
know. He's
yeah,
just a kid,
I was
man.
I was definitely I was a WB kid. So I started off with a lot of offbeat stuff, man. Like, like I said, Yu-Gi-Oh. Another one that people probably remember was Hamtaro. Like I was into
Hamtaro,
just
dude.
Hamtaro
little
made me
things
want
like
a pet
that.
hamster.
It did too. I definitely wanted a pet hamster too. I love their adventures. I think that's kind of like what pushed me into anime, just all of those kinds of things. And also
Like
was a
slice
Zoid
of life
person
type
too.
anime, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Zoids was another anime that definitely sealed the deal. I didn't know I liked robots until I
Which
came
Zoid?
across Zoids and my life
know
was
which
turned
Zoids.
upside down. Yeah, bro, like
We know which
Zero all the
Zoids.
way. Yes.
New
Yeah,
Century.
Yeah, New
that's
Century.
the only Zoids I like.
It's like the best thing in the world, man. And
Just had to
honestly,
clarify.
like once I like saw that, I knew there was no turning back for me. Like I was a Cartoon Network kid, but man, anime really, really turned my world upside
Bro,
down.
Toonami, the cultural impact of Toonami on the latchkey
Phenomenal.
kids of the nineties, dude. Like we were home
Phenomenal.
alone and we had Toonami, dude.
Yes.
We were all watching anime, trying to do a key blast in our living room.
Bro, I was yelling in my room half the
Yeah.
time, dude. I wanted to go Super Saiyan so bad.
Yes, dude.
But jumping into my top five, there's a lot that we can relate to. For me, the first one easily is gonna be Yu Yu Hakusho. Like you said, that opening, the characters. It won't be controversial, but I really feel that Yu Yu Hakusho is probably one of the few animes where the writing and the storytelling is so solid. Like it's engaging in every way.
And it's
Even when they,
consistent.
yes,
Yeah,
even
there
when they
are a
have to kill
few
off
plot
character.
holes, but it's okay. It's still great.
No, we won't worry about the plot holes because they're not significant enough. There's some plot holes in other animes where it's just like, well, why are we even doing this anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Cough, instant transmission, cough.
But second for me is gonna be Full Metal Alchemist. I love both. I love both the original. I grew up on the original. I thoroughly enjoyed Brotherhood. I love the way Brotherhood ended. I mean, tears, absolute tears. For those who made it through Brotherhood, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna spoil it for those who haven't gotten there. So if you're interested, 100%, just binge it to death. Also, on my top five, Naruto. I was one of those kids. You wouldn't see me in the hallway running like you wouldn't see me running through the hallway with my arms behind my back, but definitely love the world of Naruto. The world of ninjas, the fact that instead of it being magic, they use ninjutsu, and then just the sheer types of ninjutsu that you came across as the world started to unfold and flesh itself out.
Dude,
That was
Rock
the first.
Lee with his
Bro,
taijutsu. I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
yo, this guy can't do anything
The
except throw
tuning
hands.
exams,
They
the
had
tuning
something for they
exam,
had something for everybody, and
And
bro,
he
I
had
like
the
that.
heaviest hands.
heaviest
Yeah.
hands. Remember, like, most iconic moment is when he was on top of the statue. Guy told him, "Hey, take the weights off," and he dropped them bad boys. And you know what? I think everyone unanimously watching that scene were like, it's just leg weights. But when that explosion happened,
That cloud of
yo,
smoke, the
dog,
dust.
we knew we were in for something.
Yeah.
Dude, the
Gara didn't know, but we knew.
amount of AMVs I saw with that fight back
Yes,
in the day was crazy.
yes,
Everybody was
yes.
doing that on that fight.
You know what? It just
Such
kind
an
of
iconic fight.
just to section out that too. I miss AMVs. I think we kind of need to bring that back.
I mean,
I mean, some
they have some
animes,
pretty tough edits on TikTok, but yeah, I mean, there's when you had like the full on fight scene,
bro.
like
Linkin Park to
cut to the
Naruto.
music, yeah,
I was
Those,
just
cut to the
about to say, I
music.
saw a video that was like, hey, we need to know if the new singer for Linkin Park is actually good. The only way to do it is to put their song over the Rock Lee fight to see if it flows.
See if it blows.
double check. We gotta check the stats. Oh
We
my
got checked.
gosh.
We got checked.
The fourth in my top five. Some people may know this one. Some people may not. Soul Eater. I was a big fan of Soul Eater. I remember putting it on when it was on Netflix. I didn't know what I was getting into, but I definitely fell in love with it immediately.
Who's your favorite
The
character in Soul Eater?
And I don't know if you want to hear it, but if you're once you join the Discord, I mean, it's not even a question, bro. It's Excalibur. He's
Excalibur.
the best.
Excalibur.
Don't you know the taller the hat, the better the chef?
Bro, I am
Who said I was a chef?
100% an Excalibur fan when it comes to Soul Eater. Like, I mean, Black Star is a close second. I love Black
Black
Star
Star is my
too.
favorite.
Like so.
Black Star.
But Excalibur, he stole the show from me. His little
You know, it's funny.
episodes
For
he
me,
did
it
is
was
good.
Death the Kid.
Death the Kid,
With his
I
love
love
him
Death the
pinkies.
Kid
too.
with his pinkies and his dual wielding.
Yes, I remember when I first saw that, I was like, man, how's he not losing his pinkies off those shots? But you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna worry about that.
I was
They
like,
were
they
really
really did
cool.
that, and it really looks hard. Like,
Yeah,
I
Yes,
was
really.
like, dang.
but man, I love their quirks. And I think that's one thing that truly intrigued me about Soul Eater. You know, Maka did have her daddy issues, but she was very, very centered, where her partner was also, very mysterious, but also very cool. But at the same time, me being young and then also watching a young person being put in adult situations, hey, he folded just like I would. And I
Yeah.
love Black Star being an assassin, but being just blatantly retarded. Like, I couldn't get over it, man.
His personality was just so contradictory because you're right, he's an assassin. He's supposed to be like mysterious
Quiet.
in the shadows, quiet, but he also wanted all the recognition. He was like, I'm bigger than life. I gotta show that I'm bigger than life. So
Oh
it
my
just
god.
contradicted his co-assassin
And that's what I
style.
loved about
He
it
was too
because,
loud
like,
to be an assassin.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever been another show where you run into an assassin that is just so blatantly and so brazen about his motives. Like, even his introductory episode when he's supposed to assassinate who? what is that
Capone.
bad
Al
guy?
Capone.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Al
was about to
Capone. What does he
say.
do? Jump on the table and announce that he's here to kill him? Like, bro,
Yeah.
like, wasn't ready for it, but I was there and I was locked in.
Yeah.
And then Death
Yeah.
the Kid, man, his OCD was just something that he kind of got me into, like, not realizing that some people have quirks that they just can't get over.
Hmm.
And sometimes it was at his disadvantage, but it's just something that I really appreciated. And the storytelling in that one was great. Very, very good.
Love
Now
it.
lastly for my top five, this one it's gonna be in a different spectrum, but it is an anime called Death Parade. I'm not sure if anyone's ever seen it.
Yep.
Uh, it's a really good
I
show. You
I've
have
heard
not?
of it.
I love it. The entire concept, to be honest, and I'm not gonna spoil it because I'm gonna make you watch it. Like you just messed up. But the entire concept is that when people die, there's always like, what happens? Do you go to heaven or hell? And the whole premise of Death Parade is that when these people die, they're actually put to the test, and their true intentions and their true colors are going to be shown through the test that these people put out for them. And depending on how they react is their determination on whether they go to heaven or hell. It's very deep. There's a lot of instances where it hits you in the feels. I remember I had to go to work, and I think it was probably like 2 o'clock in the morning. I had to be at work at 5. And I put that on because I just wanted some background noise to go to sleep. I did not go to sleep that night. I just pulled an all-nighter watching it, went to work, dog tired, and came home and finished it up. It was that good. It is that good, man.
It is really good, and just a little Easter egg in Death Parade that I always like, which it kind of references another anime that was almost in my top five, which is Death
Oh,
Note,
Death Note, yes.
because there's an Easter egg where Light Yagami makes a little cameo. They don't say it's him, but we know it's him in Death
You
Parade.
know it's him. You know it's him.
Yeah, and I
And
always thought that
honest,
was really clever, really cool.
and I risk, oh man, if they could ever do a collab, I would love to see what they tested him on, because as we all know with Death Note, like, yes, he did some horrible things. Looking at you, failure frame, but he did it for just reasons. You know,
Well, he kind of went off the rails there for a little bit, but yeah,
Eh,
okay, yeah, it
yeah,
started out with good
it
intentions.
started out with good intention,
Man.
but that's just a little about me, man.
It
My
always makes
top
me wonder,
five.
like, what would my test be? Like, I'm like, hey, yo, let's go beer pong for the afterlife,
Beer
beer
pong. Oh
pong for
my
heaven, let's
god.
go.
Oh my gosh. I couldn't even fathom what my test would be. And it's crazy because, like, when you're in this world, one, you don't know how you got there. So you don't even have a memory. You have like a hazy memory of like what you were doing prior to you arriving there.
Hmm.
So you're really just kind of thrown into it. And so your emotions are at full swing when you're making your choices in this anime, which makes it so tough to watch sometimes because some people are really ugly, man, and you see the darkness in people's hearts, and like it pulls at you, man. It really pulls at you.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It really
So
is.
that's another solid top five anime. If we try to run it back, you said Yu Yu Hakusho
Yep.
was up there, which is one that you shared with Chris, and I already said that was going to be in my top five. So don't be surprised when I name mine.
That.
You said Naruto.
Yes.
There was another one you said before Naruto though.
A
Well,
full
you said Full
Full
Metal
Metal
full
Alchemist.
metal
Alchemist.
Yeah.
alchemist. Yep.
Yeah, and then you said
Soul Eater.
We got Soul
Soul
Eater.
Eater. That
Speaking of
one,
Soul
I
Eater,
wasn't expecting that one, but that one's honestly, I really like that one too.
Soul
Especially
Eater
because it's
is really
done.
good.
Like
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's the other part of it is it's done. So it's like
but
it was
have
nice.
y'all watched Fire Force?
Yes.
Which is
I watched a
supposed to
little bit
be
of Fire Force.
it's supposed to be a prequel to Soul Eater. So if you like Soul Eater,
Yes.
you probably will like Fire Force.
I'm
And
waiting
Fire
for the.
Force has like one of the like
Just
the first season of Fire Force, the outro song is such a banger. Like it's one of
such
my
a the
favorite
intro
outro
is a
songs.
banger,
The
bro. The
intro is
intro
really
is a
good too,
banger
but
too.
that outro song, oh man,
Yes.
it's such a banger.
So for those who don't know, and it's one of those things where you actually have to creep the manga, or maybe if you're on social media, it kind of ruined it for you. But the birth of death from Soul Eater actually comes from Fire Force. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely start watching it because once the later seasons comes out, we're gonna be introduced into the world of Soul Eater. So
That's gonna be cool.
it's
That'll be cool to see.
worth watching. Yeah,
There's
exactly.
also the other anime called Soul Eater Not, which is
It's
not
good.
that great.
It's good, but it takes a completely different direction
Yeah,
from the original Soul Eater. I thought it was gonna be a continuation. I thought it was gonna
I
have the
thought
same
so
level of
too.
action, but
It
it's
has some of the
actually a
similar
They
more.
said
characters.
not. They said not.
It said not, yes, but it's a lot more
Yeah.
slice of lifey. It is
Yeah.
definitely
Okay,
like if you're
that's
into that, I
cool.
mean, don't turn away. It's still
Yeah.
part of the story. It's still part of the school.
Yeah.
Um,
And you said the last one was Death Parade, right?
Death Parade,
Death
yes,
Parade.
yes.
Which I gotta check out. That's probably the only one that we've brought up so far that I haven't seen.
It's a hidden
Uh,
gem. For those who know, get at me. For those who don't know, I 100% watch it. You won't regret it. I
mm,
promise you. You just won't regret it.
I'm gonna check it out. Well, so again, my name's Eric, and I'm gonna admit a little selfishly that part of the reason why I wanted to do this podcast with these guys is because these two guys are constantly recommending podcasts, and they are all, or not podcasts, animes, and they're always showing, they're always watching animes, new ones, old ones, obscure ones, whatever it is. And I try to keep up as best I can. I'm so bad at watching shows, but I do enjoy anime. I've been watching it since I was a kid. We mentioned before, Toonami with the Latchkey Kids, Home Alone, and all you have is Cartoon Network. It really
Or
opened your
WB.
eyes into like it was like not necessarily adult animation, but it was definitely like mature animation compared
Mhm.
to like what was being shown on like Nickelodeon and Disney Channel and Cartoon Network at the time, like during the
Facts.
day.
Facts.
Yeah, so I always thought it was cool, but yeah, so we kind of had our own little group chat going on, and we were just like, hey, have you seen this anime, or this anime just came out? We just been watching a few episodes, and it kind of created this almost like a book club style of anime, or,
Hmm.
or, or, or group chat, right? But for anime instead of books, and we I feel like we all do a really good job at like being analytical and like breaking down like the different tropes and the different themes of all the shows. So we got together and we were like, dude, we should just do a podcast, right? We did the typical bro. I got a mic. Let's start a
You got
podcast.
a mic? I got a
Yes.
mic. You got a
So
camera?
here it is.
My laptop got it.
But that to be saying like I'm not green, right? I didn't just start watching anime yesterday, like I've got a Dragon Ball Z tattoo. I've got two Dragon Ball Z tattoos actually. This
Yo.
one is a little bit more obscure that some people may not know. You have to watch some of the movies to see this one, but this is supposed to be the Saiyan Royal Crest for Prince Vegeta and his family. They have this on their armor. They don't really use it anymore, unfortunately. But if you look at the old stuff and you look at some of the movies from Vegeta before Frieza blew up Planet Vegeta, that you'll see that symbol on there. And I always thought it was dope, and I always wanted to get it on me. So, like, I'm not new to anime. Dragon Ball Z is probably my first love, my first foray into anime.
Hmm.
But Mike brought up a good point, like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon were probably like a lot of other people's like first introduction to anime. Digimon, like I know we all watched Digimon,
I'm glad you said that because
Yeah.
Pokemon and Digimon were close. Gosh, even I was on TikTok and I saw clips of the first Digimon movie, and I was reminded of just how good
That
it
show was
was.
so
Oh
good,
my
bro.
god,
Those first three seasons,
Yeah.
honestly, those
I
first
remember
three seasons went so hard.
I
so
remember
hard.
when me and Eric were teenagers, like I would go over to Eric's house just to hang out and we'd be like, well, we got nothing to do. Let's just watch Digimon. And we watched like the first three seasons just like back to back to back to back.
Yo,
This was like before Crunchyroll, I want to say, because like I had my laptop hooked up to my TV and we would go on like some obscure website and it just like had all the episodes like
oh
it like
my god.
in a list and you had to click on each episode to like pull it up and click out of all these different ads. But yeah, we did that. Those first three episodes, it's seasons, you got the OG Digidestin and then they come back with the eggs in season 2 with Vmon and Flame Dramon, and then you've got season 3 with the cards.
Yes. Yo, yeah, for real.
Yes,
Come
dude, the cards went
on.
so
That was
hard,
Tell me
dude.
cool.
it wasn't high as the type.
Yeah, Digimon was tight. There's always going to be a place in my heart for Digimon and those shows from like a nostalgic level. But if I had to actually like create a top five, I would put Dragon Ball Z in my top five. I bonded a lot. I have two boys, so I bonded a lot with them, with Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, watching it with them. Yu Yu Hakusho, I already mentioned that one.
Yeah.
Another OG one that I watched like as a kid and that I still like every once in a while will rewatch from episode 1 all the way to the end of season 3, when he comes back from the demon world.
Mm-hmm.
Trigun actually
Whoa.
loved like the whole aesthetic, this whole like weird sci-fi
Whoa.
Wild West, like spaghetti Western movie show that it was Trigun and Vash Stampede. I mean, I loved
Speaking
him as a character, like so goofy. I felt like I was him in a lot of ways. Like when I was in high school, I felt like I was like the goofy guy, like the class clown that was just like trying to make everybody laugh. But like when the moment called for it, like I would just like do something like real cool out of nowhere, just like
yes,
party pants,
Yes,
man. Just
dude.
pull a
man.
drink out of my back pocket
Speaking of
in the middle of a
Trigun,
party, man. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, so
oh
I
man,
just,
their music was amazing. I
Yeah, for
could
yes,
definitely
sure.
dude.
say the music in Trigun is something that I can go back to. I actually have some of their music on my Spotify. Just wanted to throw it out there because
It's
it
so
Has
is
that
good.
so good.
saxophone in it. So good.
That
Yes.
yes, dude.
Woo!
And I did
Yeah.
try to watch a little bit of the Trigun Stampede where they redid it with the new
Okay.
animation. I feel like a lot of the essence is still there, but my nostalgia just won't let me see past it.
Ah,
Like I'm just like
okay.
all it
Okay.
makes me want to do is just watch OG Trigun.
Yeah. And then the Trigun movie, I think it is called Stampede. The movie is
Mm-hmm.
actually
Oh, yeah,
really good.
Yes.
Really
Really
good
good.
yeah.
too.
Really,
Yeah. And
really
I
good.
love the world of Trigun too, because you're right. It's like a futuristic Western, and it's like, how does that make sense?
Hmm.
Very
And you just
desolate.
kind of accept it and while you're watching it. And it isn't until like the very, very end of the anime that you realize like it explains the world. And you're like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's pretty intense too. And that's the thing when they did like the reboot of the story, they put a lot of that in the beginning of the show, but I actually really liked the
the
mystique
mystique.
of the world and like uncovering it like with some of the characters in the show, like Meryl and what's her name?
Oh, her accomplice,
Yes,
her
yes,
right
yes,
Yeah,
hand.
the
yes.
tall one.
The tall
Yes.
one.
Oh,
Uh
so nice, but so
I know.
strong.
And they got rid of her in the other in the remake too, so I was kind of upset about that. But
Oh, I didn't know
so
that.
Trigun.
I also really like Wolfwood. He was probably my favorite
Oh
character.
yeah,
Yes,
The big
dude.
old
the bad,
cross.
the bad guy with the cross. Yes,
Yeah.
man. He
Mm-hmm.
he
He was
was
a
kind of
priest.
like, as a
He was a
kid, I was like,
priest.
man, I want to be like him. I want to be so mysterious, but
I
also
wanted to
be
be
like
bad.
uncanny and awesome about at the same time.
But I was joking. I was joking with the guys, when we were talking about coming up with our top five. I watched a lot of anime. Those are probably like my most solid top five, right? Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Trigun. Like anytime, like I just want to watch something, I'll put that on. Lately, I've been watching way more anime than I've ever watched, like in my whole life. And I've seen a lot of shows and I've gotten addicted to a lot of shows recently. So I'm going to say One Piece. I'm
Ooh,
going to say
yep.
One Piece. Only I did not watch One Piece growing up. I did not watch One Piece past last year,
You're
like before last year. And I will follow up with I started episode 1 last year this morning because I was watching some shows before work, some episodes before work. I'm at episode 947.
you are a
So
hero.
Welcome to
I'm
Wano.
I know I'm in Wano, dude. I'm like out, and what a journey. I mean, and I watched the live action, and I think they did a great job. I'm excited for the live action season 2, which is coming out soon. But like, man, what a journey. And Luffy is like the epitome of a revolutionary. Like he is like the ideal pirate, man. Like it's not about power, it's not about fame, it's not about fortune. It's about freedom, right? And that's why I love
Freedom.
like that reoccurring theme where it's like you don't understand, like I can't be the pirate king. I can't truly be free if nobody else is free, right? If everybody else is suffering, so part of his journey to becoming the Pirate King is actually liberating everybody that he comes across. And it's just, yeah, I'm saying like from an adult, this is a good show.
Yeah, I thought it was just a silly anime about pirates.
I know, like, no, it's a good
It
show.
gets deep. It gets deep.
It does get deep, and so obviously
commitment.
I'm still watching. It does take commitment.
Commitment.
It took me a year to get this far, and there was a solid like 3 to 4 months where I was watching anything other than One Piece. I was like, I have to watch something else. This is all I've been watching for like 6 months straight. Like I need to take a break.
I'm honestly glad you started One Piece because I feel like I'm one of the cliche like you gotta watch One Piece. You gotta watch One Piece. I know it's 1,000 episodes, but you gotta watch One Piece. And now that you're finally caught up to like Wano, I'm like, now you see why you have to watch One Piece.
Yes, dude. Yes. It is so good. And there's so many One Piece references in so many other animes. And I'm like sending him screenshots like almost every day. Like random video games that I'm like playing on my phone will have like One Piece references. And I'm like, what? Straw Hat?
It's a global phenomenon, man.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put that up there in my top 5. So but the other one that I was going to say, it's probably what kind of like sparked my found love for isekais. And I don't know that it's the best one be there, but I really liked it.
Oh my God. I'm scared what you
I have a couple ideas of what it is, but
I'm kind of scared.
It's Mushoku Tensei job reincarnation, bro.
You weirdo. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, dude.
And you know what?
But it's good. It's good. It's good.
Because I love you. I'm gonna hold back the judgment. I'm gonna hold back the
it's just, and but that's why I was saying like it sparked my love for isekais because the thing that I liked the most about it was like the hard reset, right? Like the idea that he just like gets teleported to a new world, not just a new world like in his current body, not even just a new world like in his current consciousness, like he gets born, right? So he starts from day one with like the knowledge and consciousness of like a grown adult. And so it's like you always kind of wonder, you always kind of think back to like, man, if I had known what I know now, I would have learned how to be like a computer programmer, or if I had known what I knew now back then, like I would have kept doing those like piano lessons. And so here's a guy who like actually gets like a full hard reset, and is fully conscious from day one. Yes, obviously that creates some like awkward moments where he's like turned on by his mom, and I'm not gonna dwell too much on that because that's not really my favorite part about the show at all, but then you see like he teaches himself how to read at like a super young age and like becomes like a magic master at like the age of 6 to the point where he becomes a tutor for other people who are like older than him to teach them how to do magic. And then it just kind of goes on from there. It was at, I want to say, beginning of my anime, I don't want to say renaissance, but like
Resurgence.
Yeah, like I had always kind of like watched animes like growing up. Every once in a while I had watched Soul Eater. I had watched a couple of animes that have shown up like over time, but majority of the time, like I don't watch TV really, if I'm being honest. Like I'm mostly just like doom scrolling on my phone or like playing video games. So that was probably like the beginning of me like just like deep diving into like I'm just gonna watch as many shows as I possibly can. And that's when I learned what an isekai was. And that's when I was just like, I don't know if you remember, I went down like a list. I was just like, I'm just watching like every isekai. Rising in the Shield Hero, I watched that one. It was like
it's a rabbit hole. It's a good rabbit hole.
It's crazy how the isekais have kind of created their own genre. Because I thought you were gonna say if it wasn't for jobless reincarnation, I thought you were gonna say that time I got reincarnated as a slime.
That's a good one. That's
what I thought you were gonna
say.
I thought you were gonna go that direction instead.
I should have said that one. Actually,
to be honest,
I don't even know how that one
just like. Such a good, and I'm still watching that one. I think
I'm watching it right now. It's
season
ongoing.
4 now.
Yeah,
it's so good. World building.
You know what? I haven't watched any of the new episodes.
Oh my gosh.
It has slowed down a lot more now that he's like super OP. Like it's
Oh
more like
yeah, I
more
mean, like at
political
the
now.
end of the last season, yeah,
Oh, but
he
I don't
was
think
like,
that's gonna be for long. I think it's actually gonna pick up again. If
I need to see
you,
some challenges. I need to see some challenging enemies again.
I think if
we're
you
running
follow
into the One Punch Man
the
problem.
trope,
Yeah,
no, it not
yeah.
really, because if you follow
I
the trope of how I was reincarnated as a slime, is that like initially he was weak, he ran up against like a lot of adversaries, and then when he reached his peak, they started fleshing out the world and kind of revealing the world and the politics of it.
Right.
Once they did that, then he got more adversity because if you remember, the Holy Knights started coming in, and the Seven, they started coming out of the background and they really started challenging him. And so the action ramped
But
up.
was it really a challenge? I feel like we haven't
It
really seen
it
him
really
like
was because he
back into
almost
a corner
died.
in a good
He
That
minute.
like
technically
little
almost
tournament that
died.
they had, like Battle Royale, yeah, he almost died in that
He
fight, didn't
actually
he?
almost died when he went up against what's her name? Was it Sakura or Haruko? Oh, I can't remember her name off the bat. I mean, he literally, if he didn't cut himself in half and have his psyche run it, he was gonna die. He
Yeah, that's
literally was
true.
gonna die, and he had
His
to run
little
from that
AI
fight.
that he's got talking to
Yeah,
him, the angel thing,
Hmm.
like
I think
that's
it's
just a
Sage
hack,
now.
man.
Yeah, but like, yeah,
The
he
gray sage
literally
or whatever it is.
he had to run from some battles because he knew he was beat. Even as a demon lord, he's still facing. There are still some adversaries that are coming forward,
I
that
just
are
feel like he's
proving that
super
like
OP.
he could be killed.
I always
I
say like if there was like they say like okay like One Piece like create your own like pirate crew, who would be the captain? I always say like Rimuru Tempest because I feel like he'd be like the greatest leader on
He
my
would be
pirate crew.
though.
Like
from like a
you know what I mean?
political standpoint, yeah, I think he definitely had like the whole like politics thing
But if you
mapped out
remember,
from the beginning,
what
and
is
it
it?
was
He was like
and
30
he did it.
something when he before he got stabbed. He was like
He
a
did it with the
32-year-old
power of
teacher.
capitalism.
I
What?
I think he was like what, a 32-year-old teacher before he got stabbed
In
and
his previous
reincarnated
life.
into a slime. Yeah, in his previous life. So
Oh,
like he
I
was
don't
an
know if he
adult.
was a teacher. I thought he was.
What was he? He was
Wasn't he a businessman or
Yeah,
something?
he was a
I thought he
businessman.
just got fired, didn't he? Like he just
Mm-mm,
like lost his job, and he was like meeting up with his friends for like
mm-mm.
a.
He had a
He was like
job.
third wheeling,
I
wasn't
He
need to
he?
was
go
meeting
back
up
and
with
check.
his friends. They had because
I'm gonna
they
rewatch this
even
out.
called him senpai. And I remember it was like some guy in the crowd with a knife who just lost it. He was running up on the girl and he jumped in the way to save her and he died. And
I
then that's
remember.
what
I do
pretty
remember
much
him
brought it
getting
all up.
stabbed. Spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even a spoiler. That's like the
So
first episode. This is what
That's
you're
in
gonna
the
walk
first like
into.
10 seconds.
Yeah,
so maybe
exactly.
I'll
Like you
yeah
go
maybe
figure
I'll
it out.
replace it. Maybe I'll replace Jobless Reincarnation with the time I got reincarnated in Slime because like the movie was really tight too.
Oh, that
Actually,
was a good
Oh
when we
movie.
went to go
yeah.
see the movie.
I thought it was funny that we went to go see that movie and we thought we bought it in dubbed and we get there and we're watching it and I didn't
Oh,
realize that I was reading until like 30 minutes in. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah.
that
Turns and looks at me. He goes, "It's not Doug." He's like, "Yeah, no kidding, bro." I'm like,
You're just realizing that? I'm like,
that
God,
is
I
the
watched too much
absolute
anime,
best.
man. I didn't
"Yeah,
even
I
realize I
saw
was
that."
reading.
You know what? That's when you know you love anime. When you can watch a show in dub and it
Uh,
shifts to sub because there's no more dub and you don't even realize it. Like you're just locked in.
I'm making voices for them when I'm reading it in my
Exactly.
head, bro. I'm
Exactly.
like,
You're just
I don't
going
even
with it.
realize it sometimes.
There are some anime though that I can't watch subbed or I can't watch dub. Like Dragon Ball Z for an example, I have to watch it dub. Like
Have
I
to
can't
watch it
watch it
dub too.
subbed. I can't watch it
Naruto,
subbed.
I
I'm
can't watch
sorry.
dub.
It's
Uh,
usually depending on how I'm introduced to it, right?
okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if the first couple episodes or like the first season I watched it in dub or sub, then usually I
That's how you're
continue that
sticking to it.
route. Yeah, because
Mhm.
I'm already those are the voices, right? Those are the characters in my head. But yeah, going back to Dragon Ball Z, all love to the OG voice actor. May she rest in peace. But it was always the English dub for me, man. Uh,
And I just want to say I love your list, man. Trigun, I wasn't anticipating, but that is such a solid anime. I love that we all can relate to Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball, and One Piece. I myself, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't told y'all, but I mean, I've actually started. I'm like episode 32, so my journey is so long. But you know what? At this point, like it's almost like the Naruto effect where like everyone's talking about it. It is the main focus of everything. And I just kind of want to see what it's about. Like I need to get there.
And I feel like it definitely got its resurgence. I mean, they're already talking about redoing the whole series like by
Yes,
another studio and like
Wit
cutting out a
Studio.
lot of the filler. Wit Studio, yeah,
Wit
which is a
Studio,
really
good
good studio.
studio.
But I think a lot of they got a revival with the live action,
Hmm.
and the live action did so well. There were some people that watched the live action who had never seen the anime and then went and started watching the anime after watching the live action because
I feel
they
like
really did a good job on it.
I feel
Yeah,
like the live action for One Piece.
it's like the one anime that got a live action that actually did well. Because there's been a
Mhm.
lot of other animes that got live actions and they're just not great.
I
That's
mean, Yu Yu
exactly what I
Hakusho
was
got
gonna
one
say.
too.
Didn't
It
that's
was
nope,
not great. I
it
still
wasn't
watched
that.
it because I love Yu Yu Hakusho and I still appreciate it, but
It
it
was too
just was not
condensed.
great. And that's usually how all the live actions go. They're just not
Oh,
that great.
that's kind of what kind of threw me off because I was hoping the way
Don't
One
get me
Piece
started
did
on
it
Death Note.
so well, without that everyone else would have been like, okay, people want stuff that follows the anime. Like they don't want your own personal storytelling version of it. Like, nah, no, like they set the bar and people need to step it up. Studios
One
need to
thing
step
that
it up.
I told Chris, I said I feel like one of the big issues with making live actions and animes is you a lot of times they try to make it too realistic in the sense that they lose the cartoonish aspect of the
Mm,
anime.
The different
okay,
Like
quirks that
because
all the characters have.
yeah, like
okay.
these anime, and I'm not just talking about like from a visual aspect too. It's like it's the tone, it's the style. Like there's a lot of like humor
Mm-hmm.
anime, even some of the more like darker ones, or even some of the more, especially when you're talking about shows like Yu Yu Hakusho and One Piece, where there is a lot of humor in those shows, a lot of points where they don't take it too seriously. And I feel like with the live action, they try to make it too seriously. Like they go like the Justice League way where they try to make it gritty and,
Dark.
and real and dark and
Mm, what
serious. And
DC
Yeah.
it's
with
like,
it don't work out.
yeah, and it's like, no, dude, like you got to be fun. You got to be a little lighthearted. Like you could still be serious and you can still be emotional, and I think that's what they did very well in the One Piece. Also working so closely with Oda, which is like something that I think if you're going to make an adaptation is an absolute must. You got to work with the creators, man.
Source material is
Yeah, you
important.
gotta work with
Yes.
the
Factuals.
creators. And yeah,
Factuals.
I feel like it also can go the other way too, because I feel like I've seen some like anime to live action that try to keep that like goofy, like over the top sense of it, and it just comes off cringy. It just doesn't feel
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
real.
okay.
It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's just I don't like watching somebody like do that or like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
They hit that
In real life.
cosplay a
You get
little. They hit that
secondhand
cosplay a
embarrassment.
little too
Yeah, I get
real. Yeah.
secondhand embarrassment watching it.
Second.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Well, so that's my top five. And now you guys have heard a little bit about us and where we come from in terms of anime. We are hoping that this podcast, this show, whether you're an audio listener or whether you're watching this on YouTube, can be like your source for like the next anime that you want to watch. Hence the name, Your Next Anime. Like the whole idea is that we're constantly watching shows and breaking them down and analyzing them and giving our opinions on them. And maybe that'll help you guys find your next anime that you want to watch. And we're going to be watching new ones. In fact, if you're on our YouTube channel, hopefully, if I'm doing my job, there should be the first episode where we were going under the old name, the Sugoi Squad, and we start talking about Failure Frame, which is a show that's out on Crunchyroll right now. It's got 10 episodes. It's still running. We've actually recorded 2 episodes where we talked about the first 8 episodes of that show. Check that out, give it a like, and comment what you think we should watch next. Again, we're watching old ones, we're watching new ones.
Tier ones. We'll
Yeah,
take
we're
them
gonna
all.
break down the things that we loved about it, the characters, the theme songs, the animation styles, giving it a rating to see if it's binge or cringe, right? If it's worth watching, or if maybe you should pass on this one and find something else.
If you see something that looks like a vending machine, don't pass on that. Just go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead and jump in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in it honestly for a selfish reason because like I feel like I'm the one that watches. I watch everything. I watch shows. I watch anime. Like anything that's coming out that's hot. Like I'm watching it, and I'm constantly like, "Have you seen this? Have you seen this?" And Eric is one that I'm always like, "Have you seen this one?" And Eric's like, "You know, I don't watch anything." So this is an opportunity to be like, "Hey, Eric, we're gonna be talking about this. Now you have to watch what I tell you to."
Now I have to. He's great. He got so excited. He has a whole list. He's got me
I put
blocked out
together
for the
like
rest of the
20
year.
animes. I put together like 20 animes, and I'm like,
I just put together a quick
my
list.
God.
that's too many already.
Oh my gosh. I'm an Isekai buff, so like as long as I see someone died and came to another world, like it's already like played. Like I'm
Once
not
you
gonna
hear
say
that bus coming down the street,
yo, Chuck Coon coming around the
Bus
corner.
Coon, where you
truck
at?
coming around the corner,
Yo, I'm
you hear
in.
little kids playing in the street, and you hear tires screeching. You know it's about to be a good show.
Let me get my
Hey, Yu Yu
popcorn.
Hakusho, he gets hit by a bus.
He gets hit
That's
by
where
a
it all
car.
started. That's where it all
Gets hit by a
started.
car. Yeah. But yeah, so the idea is that, we record these episodes on Thursdays. So again, if I'm doing my job right, these episodes should be going up on Fridays. So today is September the 12th. So first episode should be going up September the 13th. Friday the 13th, lucky Friday the 13th. I'm going to go get a tattoo to celebrate. And if you're interested, like and subscribe and check us out every Friday for the next episode. But until then, what are you watching?
Yeah,
Oh, that was
love
hard,
that.
right?
No, that had a tough ring to it. Hold on. You have to clip that, and we're gonna have to just make that on the soundboard. That was tough. I love that.